The graveyard lay far behind us now, its silent bones left to drift forever in the void. Yet I couldn't shake the image of it, the floating mausoleum of our species, and the starship that had risen from it like a phoenix. The Valiant was alive, its corridors humming with energy, its vast systems slowly awakening as Vale unlocked them one by one. Every day I discovered something new. A weapons bay the size of a city block, a garden dome filled with frozen dormant seeds, even libraries of data I could barely comprehend. But what haunted me most wasn't the ship. It was the silence after the battle. The Vaelth drones hadn't been invincible. We'd destroyed them. For the first time in centuries, humanity had struck back, and in the vacuum that followed, a thought burned inside me, sharp as a blade. If we could kill them, then we could fight them. Vale knew what I was thinking before I said a word. Victory is never enough, he warned. The Vaelth will return. They will learn. And when they do, they won't send drones. They'll send death. I nodded, but my resolve didn't falter. We couldn't hide anymore. Humanity had been running for too long. The only way forward was through fire, and the Valiant was the spark. Vale led me into the Valiant's war room, a cavernous chamber filled with holographic displays, glowing constellations, and tactical grids. It was the heart of the ship, and perhaps the heart of humanity's last hope. Where are they? I asked. At my voice, the galaxy lit up. Hundreds of stars appeared across the table, some marked in green, others in red. The greens were colonies, human settlements Vale still believed existed. The reds were darker, pulsing slowly like wounds. Extinguished, he said grimly. Worlds taken by the Vaelth. The map was a graveyard of stars. Out of hundreds of colonies, only a handful remained. Vale's gaze turned to me. We can't win this alone. We need to find the survivors, unite them. The Valiant was built to lead fleets, not drift alone. I swallowed hard. The thought of rallying humanity's remnants felt impossible. We were broken, scattered, mistrustful of each other. But something in Vale's voice made me believe. Where do we start? I asked. Vale touched the map. One green star pulsed brighter, Ariva's colony. If it still lives, it may hold the key to rebuilding the fleet, Erebos. I'd heard the name whispered before, a haven at the edge of the Perseus Arm, cut off from the main trade routes. If anyone had survived the silence, it would be them. But the path there crossed Vaelth territory. The Valiant moved through the void like a predator, silent and vast. I sat in the command chair, linked to its sensors, feeling the pulse of the ship as if it were my own heartbeat. That's when we found them. At first, I thought they were wrecks, another cluster of corpses drifting in the dark. But as we drew closer, I realized they weren't ruins. They were ships, dozens of them, human vessels, old but intact, hanging together in a loose formation. A fleet. My chest tightened. Survivors? Could it be? Vale was cautious. No beacons, no transmissions. Either they're abandoned or waiting. We hailed them. No response. The Valiant edged closer, shields raised, and then they moved. Not toward us, but with us. Ships that had been silent for centuries suddenly powered on, drifting into formation around the Valiant, like wolves around their alpha. I stared in awe. They're following us. Vale's expression was unreadable. Not ships, ghosts, automated husks, linked to something greater. The fleet wasn't alive, but it wasn't dead either. It was waiting, and it had chosen to follow the Last Starship. For days, the ghost fleet followed. They didn't attack, didn't communicate. They simply moved as we moved. A silent escort in the void. But shadows are never alone. The Vaelth came for us. Not drones this time, but something larger. Something worse. It appeared without warning. A vessel shaped like a dagger of black glass, blotting out the stars behind it. No human had ever seen a Vaelth warship up close and lived to describe it. My throat tightened as its silhouette filled our senses. The ghost fleet shuddered, their movements erratic, as if the presence of the Vaelth disrupted whatever force animated them. Vale's voice was hard. They found us. The Valiant systems roared to life, weapons charging, shields rising. My hands gripped the chair, as if I could anchor myself to something solid. I wasn't ready for this, but readiness no longer mattered. The last starship had been found, and the Vaelth weren't going to let it rise again. The Vaelth warship didn't move like a ship. It glided, silent, graceful, as if the void bent to its will. Energy shimmered across its surface, in patterns I couldn't decipher, shifting like living armor. It fired first. A beam of black light tore through the void, bending debris into molten rivers as it streaked toward us. The Valiant's shields flared, screaming with power. The impact rattled me down to the marrow. Vale barked orders. "Return fire!" The Valiant answered with fury, unleashing volleys of plasma that lit up the stars. The Ghost Fleet joined in, their weapons ancient and weak, but countless. A storm of fire hammered the Vaelth vessel. It didn't even flinch. The dagger of glass slid through the storm, shimmering, adapting. Every hit we landed seemed to vanish into its surface. And then, for the first time, I heard fear in Vale's voice. It's learning. The battle stretched into eternity, a dance of fire and shadow across the void. Every maneuver, every strike, pushed me closer to breaking. The Valiant fought with the strength of 1,000 ships, but even she had limits. I could feel her pain through the link, systems overheating, shields cracking, weapons cycling too fast. And yet, she held. Vale's voice cut through the chaos. "Kael, it's not enough. We can't kill it like this." "Then what do?" I shouted. "Believe!" He said it with such conviction it pierced my terror. Believe in the ship, in him, in humanity. I reached deeper into the Valiant systems, letting the ship's mind merge with mine. Data flooded me, overwhelming, burning. I wasn't just Kael Morgan anymore. I was the Valiant, the last hope of my people, and in that union, I saw it. The warship's flaws, a fracture in its living armor, small but real. Target. "There," I gasped. The Valiant obeyed. The final strike was everything we had. The Valiant's main cannon charged, pulling power from every system, every reactor, even the life support grid. Lights dimmed, air thinned. The hull groaned like a dying beast. We fired. The beam lanced through the void, white hot, pure. It struck the Vaelth vessel in its fracture. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the dagger of glass shattered. The explosion rippled across the stars, debris scattering like black rain. The shockwave rocked us, tearing through the Ghost Fleet. Dozens of them broke apart, silent sacrifices to shield the Valiant. When the light faded, the Vaelth warship was gone. Silence. Real silence. I collapsed back into the chair, every nerve trembling. Vale's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "You did it. Humanity did it." But I couldn't feel victory, only the weight of what we had awakened. Because if one Vaelth warship had come for us, others would follow, and the galaxy would burn to know humanity still fought.